Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Michaela Andrada, and I'm Nimble's Community Manager. Thank you so much for joining me for another training webinar. Today, we'll be focusing on how to use Nimble for public relations and brand building. I will be sharing my screen the entire time. And if you have any questions during today's session, please let us know, and we'll do a Q&A at the end of the session. And before we get started, I just wanted to reiterate what Nimble is, even though today we have a majority of you that are paid users, but we also record our sessions. So I want to make sure that everybody knows exactly what the platform is before we get into the details. So Nimble is an easy to use CRM that works for you in Office 365, in G Suite, and everywhere else you work. So today we'll actually cover how you can use the browser extension to take your CRM database everywhere. We'll show how you can use it on any website, on social media, and you can also use it in any third-party application as long as it is a cloud-based application. So if you're using MailChimp, for instance, you can simply download the browser extension and then hover over any name and then bring it into Nimble, or just hover over it and Nimble will show you the existing contact record, which you will then be able to edit or schedule the next steps, or create a date, create a note, or create a sales opportunity. So I know that based on the survey, a lot of you were saying that you are interested in unifying your contacts. So you came to the right place, because Nimble allows you to bring contacts from all these disparate different places where you might have them now, like other CRMs, spreadsheets, social media, into one place. And then we match them with the communication histories and calendar appointments. So then when you find a specific contact record inside of Nimble, you have a complete view into the relationship. You see when you first connected, what are the communications you've had on email or Twitter? Are there any notes? What is the next step? Or when was the last time you met with them? And I already touched on that. We integrate with social media as well as with over 160 different software as a service applications. So if you are using a different CRM, if you're transitioning, if you are using MailChimp or QuickBooks or any other accounting system, you will be able to use this integration to easily bring all the contacts inside of Nimble and possibly even set up two-way sync. A little bit about me. My name is Michaela. Like I mentioned, I have been working at Nimble for almost 6 years now, and I have been in charge of social media, public relations, and influencer marketing. So today, I would love to share how I have been using Nimble to manage that, to build our community, identify influencers that are bloggers, analysts, and also press, and how we've been managing the relationships with them, and how we use Nimble to keep the relationship going, and how we use the specific features in Nimble to reach out to them when we're launching a new product or a new feature, to possibly see if they want to cover us again, since they've done that in the past. So if anybody's interested in connecting with me on social media, you can do so on Twitter or LinkedIn, and I'm also always happy to answer any questions. So just let me know. So I already touched on this a little bit. We have been mostly focusing on influencer marketing in our marketing activities. We have not been traditionally spending too much money on advertising, because we've seen a great success with influencer marketing. And who are the people that we consider influencers? So they can be authors, people that publish books, because we first identify what the areas around the promise of our product were. So in our case, since we are customer relationship management tool that is mostly used by business people, salespeople, entrepreneurs, the areas are sales, marketing, technology, or social media, because a business owner, entrepreneur, they actually have to understand all these areas. So they might be reading books that these authors are writing. So we are always on the lookout for new authors publishing business books, sales books, marketing books. We also focus on speakers, and many people actually fall into more categories because authors naturally become speakers, because when you publish a book, a lot of companies reach out to you to speak at their conference and share the findings that you shared in the book. Many authors are also business professionals that may be retired or decided to start their own consulting business. So we also look for consultants and bloggers. You know that bloggers are big now, so we focus on identifying the top bloggers in sales, marketing, social media, technology, and I'll share with you how you can find them and how you can do the next steps with them. Another group of people that we consider influencers are podcasters, as well as analysts, because we also want to be reaching out to the analysts in our industry. So it could be CRM analyst or sales analyst, because we want to touch all these different groups of people to spread the awareness about our brand. So eventually our customers are hearing about us from the books they're reading, from the speakers whose sessions they attend at conferences. If they hire a consultant, we want most consultants to at least be aware about our products and so on. So they read about us on the blogs they read, they listen, they hear about us on the podcast they listen to. And also if they come across any research that an analyst wrote, then we would love to be included in that as well. And same with press. So we also identify journalists by trade. So bloggers, they might just be blogging on the side, they have their blog, but we also, of course, want to focus on identify the main journalists that write for actual publications and write for a living, to write about us, essentially. So there is a lot of ways how you can identify these people and different groups. There are tools that you can use. We've used a tool called BuzzSumo and also a tool called Lillibird. So the way these tools work is that you just type in the keywords and you can run like actually pretty detailed searches depending on the criteria, and then they will help you come up with the list. But if you're a small business owner, maybe you're just getting started with all this, maybe you just don't want to spend too much money on this, there are also totally free ways how to identify influencers, and always make sure that you are basically creating a funnel of these influencers. So you always have a lot of new ones on the top and also a vast community around your brand that will help you to always have somebody you can reach out to and ask for help or brief and so on. So one of the free tools you can use is a Chrome plugin called Dest. And I'll be sharing my screen in a little bit, so I'll actually show you what it looks like. It is a Chrome plugin that essentially replaces, when you open a new tab, it replaces like this Google search that you would see normally if Google is your default browser, of course. And it replaces with content. So again, when you're setting it up, you'll tell Zest, these are the topics that I'm interested in. So it will not only help you to identify interesting content that you can learn from or share on social media with your community to start setting up yourself as a thought leader or drive more eyeballs to your profile, essentially to your brand, but you can also use it to identify influencers that are actually creating this content. So Zest will show you a bunch of articles every time you open a new tab, and it can be it also identifies podcasts and like top lists and so on. If you are a Twitter user, you've probably heard about Twitter lists because Twitter can get really, really messy. So Twitter lists are an amazing way to cut through the clutter there. And a lot of companies, a lot of conference organizers create Twitter lists, and they create them with the list of the speakers that are influencers. So you can kind of see the list and either bring people in your database one by one, or if you're using the browser plugin, we actually allow you to bring in complete Twitter lists into Nimble, and I'll be showing that a little later as well. So if you come across a Twitter list that has an amazing group of people on it and you want to steal the whole thing, you can quickly do it with Nimble, and I'll show you how in a second. Another place where you can find influencers to start building relationships with for free are conference websites. So they always list the list of speakers that are speaking at the conferences. Same with online conferences. So there's a lot of companies these days that organize these online summits where they ask a bunch of influencers, consultants, or business owners to record a session, and then you can register, attend the session, learn from them. But also they always have a site or place on the side where you can see the entire list of all the speakers. So again, this is an amazing resource to identify new influencers. And another way that I personally use a lot are influencers of influencers. So this can seem like a little bit of spying, but I think all this like influencer identification is a little bit of spying, or we can just call it research. So I always suggest people to, once they identify some influencers, to go on their profiles and see who they're talking to, who are they taking pictures with when they do go to conferences, or whose books they're reading, just seeing what they're talking about. And people tend to hang out with people like them. So this is another great way to identify more people like those that you have already identified as influencers. Let me go back to Nimble now. And I wanted to start with showing some of the details in case we have somebody on this webinar today that is not super familiar with the platform and how it works. And then I will go into the specifics on the different sites, and I'll show you how you can bring the contact information in for the people, create contact records, and then how you can use it to create custom fields, what type of information you might want to be inputting on these contact records in regards to brand building and public relations, how you can report on it, and how you can use the information to segment the people, create safe searches to outreach to them at scale. And then I'll also show you how you can use the pipelines in Nimble to track your PR activities. So for those of you that are new to Nimble, every time you log in, you will land on our Today page. Today page is meant to be the place for you to go to find out what are the most important things for you to get done the day. So before the Today page will start making a lot of sense to you, you will have to start in networks and imports. Every time you need to connect something to Nimble, you will click on this circle in the top right corner and go to networks and imports. And this is where you'll be able to connect everything. You'll be able to quickly connect your email profiles, email accounts, your calendars. As you can see, I already connected both of my Outlook calendar and my Google calendar. These are all the email addresses I connected to Nimble, because you can connect as many as you want as long as they are IMAP. And this is where you would import contacts. This is where you would import contacts. So if your contacts are in spreadsheets, then you would simply download the spreadsheet and save it as a CSV file. And this is the button you could use to import them into Nimble. If you want to import the list of your LinkedIn connections, you can use this button. And in order to do that, you would first have to go on your LinkedIn profile, download the list of your connections. It will come as a CSV file, and you would upload it here. You can also upload list of your Outlook connections here, as well as to import your Office 365 contacts. And as you can see, these are all the integrations, all the applications that we integrate with. So if you have used another CRM in the past, if you're using marketing automation system or something to handle your customer support or bookkeeping, you can just use this search and type the name of the application you're using, and it will come up. So I'll try MailChimp. Here it is. So if you wanted to sync your information with MailChimp, you would set up our integration with PySync. It is free for 14 days. On the free trial, you will be able to bring in the entire database for free. If then you want to sync the contacts, if let's say every time a new subscriber in MailChimp is created, I want them to get created in Nimble as well, and this certain tag applied, you can set it up so. And as long as you sync less than 2,000 contacts per month, the integration remains free. If you want to sync more, then there would be a charge associated with that. And my colleague Megan can share a link to PySync's pricing on their side, where you would be able to find out how much exactly that integration would cost you. But if you just want to bring the contacts in, I definitely recommend creating the trial, which you can do inside of Nimble, and just bringing them in, because it's so much easier than exporting it and importing it and so on. So once you are all set up, once you have imported your contacts, connected your emails, connected your calendars, you will start seeing the Today page populating. So this Today page can also be customized. So when you click on Manage Widgets here, you'll be able to upload your company logo, upload your background, close the widgets that might not be relevant to you. So if, for instance, you are the business owner, all of these might be relevant to you. You might want to see how people are interacting with your emails, what's on your to-do list, what's on your team's to-do list, what's on your calendar, what's on your company calendar, and you would want to see a preview of what's going on with your funnel. But let's say you are responsible simply for marketing or just a part of marketing like public relations. Maybe the sales related widgets might not be relevant to you. So then you could quickly just click on hide widget here, and it would be hidden from your Today page. You also have the ability to completely move these boxes around to create a Today page that makes most sense to you. So in my case, I prefer to have in my to-do list right in front of me. On the next spot, I like to see what's on my calendar, and then I want to see how people are interacting with my emails, because Nimble actually has a built-in email tracking, so I can track every single individually sent email as well as my group messages. So then I'll see a list of people, who are opening my messages, when they opened it, and so on. So then it gives me an idea of when I should be following up with them, or maybe I'll even sometimes give them a call. And this is also very useful for PR, because sometimes when you're reaching out to a journalist and you can see that they opened several times, you can try to send, a few more follow-up emails, but then, once you start seeing that they are not opening your emails anymore, that might be a sign that it's time to back off. But usually I send at least 2-3 follow-up emails, and this can be any communication, PR or not PR related, because we are all incredibly busy. So I know it from my own experience. People definitely need to follow up with me as well, because sometimes I just mark the email as unread, or I mark it as important to make sure that that I follow up with them later when I can do it right that second. And if I don't schedule a to-do in Nimble immediately, it just doesn't happen. So sometimes people have to follow up with me, even though I'm doing my best trying to stay organized. So that's the Today page. As you can see in tasks, you can see everything that's on your to-do list. In events, you'll see what's on all the calendars that you connected to Nimble. Email tracking, this is where you see how people are interacting with your emails. We have a stay in touch feature in Nimble, so you can set up a reminder for every single person that's in your database and help Nimble remind you to stay in touch with them on a regular basis. So if they're your top client, top journalists, you want to use this feature to basically create a list of the VIPs and make sure that you either reach out to them or you engage with them in another way. Maybe you see if they've shared an article on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook if you're connected there, and see if you can comment on it, reshare it, or read it, show interest, and add your 2 cents to it. If you are using Twitter, you might also like our signals box here, which will show you how people are engaging with you on Twitter, who started following you, when, who mentioned you, and then you can quickly add them to Nimble and possibly set up the next steps. And these three, the stage funnel, pipeline chart, and deals, these are the three sales related features that I mentioned. So if you're in sales or if you're the business owner, you might want to have these on to just see, what's going on with your sales funnel. Where do you need to put your attention? How much money you're predicted to make each quarter or each, this year, and so on. You can also see all the active deals that are related to you or any team members. You can see the active ones, those that already have been won or lost, and so on. And let's quickly take a look at a contact record inside of Nimble. So once you bring people in, this is where everything will be stored. Every information about the person, contact information, how they got there, because you can organize contacts with tags. You can use the lead details here. So you can add the lead status, the lead source, the lead type. And as you can see on the right side, this is where the entire history of your interactions will be stored. So once you start engaging with the person on email, Twitter, once there's like a deal for them, once you've created any notes, you will see everything in one place. So then maybe when you've had a relationship with them for a while, this like unified tab will become a little overwhelming because you'll have so much you've done with them. So then you can navigate to the separate ones and focus on specific activities. So just show me the to-dos that are related to this person, or what are the notes? Or if you want to find a specific email, you can do so under messages. Or you can find a specific sales opportunity that's related to this person. You can also attach any files from OneDrive, Google Drive, and Dropbox. So then everything can be in one place and anybody in your company can easily find the information. And I promised to show you how Dest works. So as you can see, I'm not sure if it's available on other browsers, but I'm using Google Chrome. So the way it works, I just open a new tab, and as you can see, it already populated with a lot of great content. And on the right side, you can just play with the tags. You can have Zest to personalize it for you. So if you're interested in influencer marketing, it will be showing content in the area of influencer marketing. But if you're in real estate, then you can of course set up the specific tags or keywords to real estate. So then when something looks interesting, like this is a podcast, it's actually a podcast about a feature that about an app that we're using. So let's just see who wrote it. So looks like this company has their podcast and they're interviewing. Okay, so he's the co-founder and the chief strategy officer. So there's a big chance that possibly our founder, who's also in technology and also co-founded tech application, might be a good fit for this podcast as well. So one of the things I've been doing is that I've been using the Nimble browser extension. If you don't have it installed yet, please go to nimble.com/widget. And again, my colleague Megan will share the link with you, so you can just click on it, and then Nimble should already know which browser you're using. So there should be a quick box you can click on and just download it on your browser. And then once you have it installed, you can just click on the icon here, bring it up, and then use it to hover over a name anywhere on the page that you are at. So in this case, the author is Eric. Sometimes when the name is not a hyperlink, you might want to highlight it. So I'm going to test it out. So this one didn't come in right. So let's see what Nimble can find just by highlighting a name. So it already knows that this is Eric on LinkedIn. And this is also him on Twitter. So just with 2 clicks, Nimble helped me build this amazing live profile. So I can quickly preview if there is a match, if it really is somebody that I want to bring into my CRM database, and if it's somebody that I want to reach out to, build relationship with a certain goal. So another advantage of the Nimble browser extension is if they're on the page, if you're on a page where there's multiple contact records that you want to create and bring them into Nimble, you could do so. And if maybe the information about the person's kind of hiding where the extension is, you can use this button to move it to the left side. And in that case, I could highlight Dest's name. All right, yep, co-founder of Intercom, that's him. This is him as well. And these contact records, okay, so, nope. So now Nimble created this list for you, and you can just click this plus sign button to add them to Nimble. Before that, those were just live profiles. So we still give you the option to preview all the information that we are able to find about these people and see the unified record before you even bring them in, because maybe first you want to do the research to even figure out if they are somebody relevant to you. So you can do this without having to open 10 different tabs, type in their name into Google or into LinkedIn and read it. You can do it straight from here. And then in case these are people that you want to add to Nimble and maybe you want to apply a specific tag to them, you can do so in bulk as well. So you can select everybody here, or you could select them one by one as well. And then just click this tag sign. And I could just create a new tag and quickly bring them to Nimble. And then I could just go elsewhere and continue my work. But this is sometimes I come across somebody that I definitely want to, check out later. And if it doesn't happen right away, I might just forget about them. So this browser extension is a huge help. So what are some of the other places where you can identify influencers for free? So it is the conference list. So this is a online conference that was put up by social media application called Agorapulse. So I see that Kim Garst is speaking at this conference. Let's pretend I don't know her. I could quickly do this with her name. Also, I wanted to mention, in case you do your research and you come across a contact record that already exists in your Nimble database, and especially if there are duplicates, the browser extension will detect it and we will give you the option to merge them. And you can also set the primary contact record. So this will really help you to keep your database clean and up to date. So I can quickly see Kim's Kim's information, all the social profiles where she's active. I could apply a tag to her. I see where she's located, which also is an important information when you want to reach out to somebody. You want to reach out to them at a normal hour. So it's also nice to know that she's on the East Coast. I can create a note. I can maybe say identified Agorapulse's Social Success Summit. And this information will be brought into Nimble, and everybody on your team will be able to see it. They will be able to see it when the node was created and who on your team created it. So when there's multiple people handling one influencer or a journalist, it's always nice to be easily able to find all the information about why they're on your target list, who they are, and what has been done with them so far, and what the next steps are. So straight from here, you can also set up the next steps. You can mark them as VIPs by marking them as important here. You can click on this little clock and help Nimble to stay in touch with them on either weekly basis, or it can be a custom reminder or any of these. If maybe there already has been something done with them, you can log all your past activities here. And you can also create, the administrator of your Nimble account can also create any custom activities. So those could be press briefings, those could be in-person meetings or conferences, trade shows. So whatever fits your business model or the certain campaign or strategy you're focusing on, you could basically customize Nimble to help you do that and stay organized. We can schedule any future activities. So if you've just reached out to Kim, she said, yes, let's jump on the phone call next week. You can schedule it straight from here. If there's something you want somebody else on your team to do in regards to Kim, you could create a task, and it could be this. You can set up the due date. And you could assign it either to yourself or somebody else on your team. When you're already here and there already has been something done with the person, there is a relationship, you can also quickly preview what is it that it has been done. So everything that we just saw on the contact record inside of Nimble, you can also access on this extension. And it also plugs into your Outlook and your Gmail. So wherever you are, you can always easily access your CRM information. So that was the online conference. There are also in-person conferences. So again, here we are. I could just select these people and then help Nimble create contact records for them. So here's Jessica. Who else is here? Heather. And depending if you're 100% sure that the social profiles that Nimble is bringing up are correct, you can mark as such. So in this case, I am not 100% sure that this is the right Heather, because she's the social media manager for Floor and Decor, and it's not really showing in her bio. So you can always go through them until you find the correct ones. And then you can quickly add them to Nimble. And on top of that, you can also use our contact discovery feature to find people's email addresses. So if you know the first name, last name, and the company they work for, Nimble will be able to find their contact information. This is an add-on feature. So every user gets 25 lookups per user. And then if it's a feature that you enjoy using, you can always upgrade. And you can let us know at billing@nimble.com, and we'll help you answer any questions about upgrading and how much it is. So this is how you can identify influencers on any website. I also mentioned the Twitter list. So there is Social Media Examiner. It's a company that puts up an amazing conference every year. It's called Social Media Marketing World. And I know that they create Twitter lists. So they've already created a Twitter list of all the speakers that will be speaking at the conference in 2020. So under tweets, you can see the list of the people and see like the most recent tweet. But the tab that is most useful for me is actually the list of all the members here. So I can quickly go through them, see if there's somebody familiar, if maybe they're mentioning any keywords in their bio. And then you can, if in case everybody on this list look like somebody you would want to start building relationships with, you can save time by using the browser extension and bringing them in one by one. And you can use this import list here. So I could see, as you can see, it automatically grabs the name of the Twitter list, but you can customize it and just bring it into Nimble like that. Or you can do it one by one by hovering over their names and then adding them in bulk. Another place or resource to identify journalists, bloggers, podcasters, or any group of influencer are top lists. So you can just Google the top, whatever it is. So if you're in real estate, again, the top real estate influencers, and there's a huge chance that a blogger or a company created a top list. So Top Rank Marketing is known for creating great lists of influencers, which makes it really easy for other companies to do the research. So they've already identified in this case, 50 top B2B marketing influencers, experts, and speakers. So you can just follow exactly the same process and simply just hover over either their name or the hyperlinked Twitter handle, and Nimble will be able to identify them. So just like this, I can create a target list, and this doesn't have to be used for influencer marketing. This can be used for traditional prospecting. So you can go on a company website, go in their team section or about us. Some companies list their entire team there, so you can quickly identify who the right decision maker might be that could help you, to either get to close in the deal or make an introduction to somebody that is actually in charge of that. And of course, this will also work the same inside of LinkedIn. So if you identify decision makers on LinkedIn, you can use this browser extension to bring them into your CRM database and put them on a nurture track and, start tracking the engagement and the next steps. And you can also use it in LinkedIn Sales Navigator if that's the CRM you're using. So here we have another list. So again, I could apply a tag to them. And they're in. Another place I mentioned that another group that we focus on are CRM analysts. So again, there is an amazing list that one of the most known CRM analysts in the space, Paul Greenberg, put together. So I know that he definitely knows who his colleagues are. So again, extremely easy to just basically steal this list and put these people in our database. Yep, just like that. So these are CRM analysts. Let's say somebody has already written about you. So one of the things we do, this is an article written by Mitch Russo, who wrote an article in Entrepreneur last week, and he included our founder as one of the software as a service application founders, sharing 5 things they wish they known before they started their company. So every time somebody covers you, there is a big chance they might want to cover you in the future. They might want to connect with you to get a briefing about your app. So we always keep a list of all the people that mentioned us, covered us in any places. And again, you land on this article, maybe you didn't even know that they were working on it. Maybe they tagged you on social media and that's how you found out that they covered your company, or maybe somebody else sends it to you. So then you might want to add the journalist to Nimble. So I know that this is Mitch for sure on LinkedIn. This is not him on Twitter. Let's see if Nimble will help me find him. Yep, so this is him. So here I am. Definitely want to add him to Nimble. Definitely want to apply a tag, and the tag that I use, which you can definitely customize. We use a tag called "Wrote About Nimble." So everybody that covers us, we apply this tag about them, and we also apply the year. So we have a master tag for all the press coverage, and then we also have individual tags for the coverage for specific years. So then we can kind of report on how many times people covered us in 2019 versus 2018. Do we need to focus more on PR? Do we kind of like fall behind? So it's really useful. Also, you'll see without having to go into the article to see when was it. So maybe they wrote about you 10 years ago. So you definitely probably should take a look at their profiles and make sure they're still writing for the outlet. So then I could mark him as important, for instance, and I could also preview any data fields. So I create custom data fields inside of Nimble. So when this is related to journalists, I want to add all the information about them. So these are all the custom fields that I created. And this is press related one, but I want to add the account owner. So it's me. Their focus is technology. The publication he writes for is entrepreneur. And he did write about Nimble. So this is another field I can then later use to report on. And I could also grab the URL for the article and add it to Nimble. And again, I can use our segmentation feature to report on this, create searches and outreach lists most importantly. So let's see what the information looks like inside of Nimble. So let's say I want to do a press outreach. Maybe I want to figure out who are all the people that covered us in, I don't know, in 2019, and I want to see specifically those that are focused in technology or CRM, because I want to reach out to them with our basically our launch file, because every time we're launching a new feature, we prepare everything a journalist or a blogger or anybody doing some kind of publishing might need in order to cover us. So we always make it super easy for them. We have videos, we have screenshots, we have a press release, we have a blog post, we have an FAQ to give them all the information they might need in order to write a piece. So I might want to find a tag that maybe they are CRM analysts. So let's do that one. So it returned one person here. As you can see, this is my test database. So let's pretend there's a whole bunch of people that came up. I could further refine the search by anything that might be relevant. So maybe I want to send an email. So I definitely want just the people that have email here. I can also see maybe how many followers they have. So I can do just greater than 30,000. And then when I come up with this list, I can save it. Oops. I can save it as top CRM analysts. And every time a contact enters this search, every time they match the criteria, they will automatically enter. So when you save these, they'll show up on the main contacts page under here. So this search will always be up to date. So it will save you time on retyping it, doing more searching, and it will always be here, and you'll be able to quickly engage with these people. So I'm going to click edit here, and I'm just going to deselect some of these to have at least somebody to work with here. Usually the next step when you come up with a list of people is either to tag them again, and that could be any type of tag. Then you could copy the URL to the tag and maybe ask your colleague to go and do something with them. Or you could also just tell them, hey, go to Nimble, find the CRM analyst tag and do this and that with them. Or you could export it, or you could send them a group message. And the group message will come from the email. You can pick from which email that you have connected to Nimble it will come out of, and it will come from your email provider. And nobody on your list will know that they were a part of a group outreach. So it's really useful feature. It is not created to replace a marketing automation feature. So as you can see, the basic limit is 100 messages per day per user. If you want to upgrade, you can email us at either care@nimble.com or billing@nimble.com and ask about our upgrades. But this feature was created to help you outreach to people at scale, but to targeted groups of people. So then it really makes it easier to personalize the message. So when these are just analysts, you can just focus the message on, get created in a way that it will apply to all of them. So you can mention something that happened in the industry or an article that just came out in like the biggest industry outlet and mention it there, and it will be relevant to all of them. Can attach files and all that. If you want to, if you're really liking the message here, you can save it as a template and then also use any previously saved templates. Then you can also send yourself a test message. Once you're happy with that, everything looks good, no typos, links you included work, you send it to list. Once you send it to list, you'll see all the information about the people. So when you sent it, and if they open, how many times, and if you included a link, how many times they click. So then again, it arms you with the ability to follow up with them. So when somebody opens more than twice, you can apply a tag to them, again, ask your colleagues to help out, or send them another possibly templated message to get on top of their inbox. And I also wanted to show you how you can use the deals pipeline in Nimble to track public relations. So as you can see, you can completely customize the pipelines. You can create as many pipelines as you want in Nimble. So I named this one public relations, and these are the stages I picked, but you can drag and drop, you can delete them, you can create as many as you want, and you can also manage it in a list if that is something that you prefer, or you can see it in the pipeline. So then you can have perhaps stages like the initial outreach. So you would create a contact record for each podcaster, blogger, and journalist you reached out to, and then you would have them here. And as they move through the funnel, basically, you can just drag and drop. Once you schedule the interview, you can just drag it here. Once that is done, you can drop it here as a closed deal, and you can have all the information related to the opportunity in here. So now I would like to tell you when our next training webinars are. So the next one will be next Wednesday, and I'll be doing, so this is actually a typo. My apologies. Next Wednesday, I'm doing the general overview. So I'll go through the entire app. I'll also give you walkthrough through the mobile app. And then on December 11th, December 4th, I'll do the same. So I'll be doing the general overview. And on December 11th, I'll be focusing on using Nimble for influencer marketing. So it will be a little expanded version of today's webinar. And you can also go on our website, nimble.com/company/webinars, and you can see all the webinars that we have scheduled. We also do influencer webinars. So you can see if there's a webinar with an influencer that is about a topic that interests you. We also have special offer for new users today. If you sign up today, you can get 30 days of Nimble for free. If you're currently in trial, just email us at care@nimble.com and mention this webinar, and we'll extend the number of days in your trial as well. And now I would like to see, what are the questions today? Dan is asking, does Nimble watch for duplicates? Yes, it does. So the way we look for duplicates is, let's see. So one place is on the extension. So when you hover over somebody, and let's say they already exist in Nimble, or if you use the search box here, the duplicates would show up here. So you would be able to quickly select them and merge them. If you see duplicates if you think there might be a duplicate on the contact record, you can go on their contact record and click here, find merge duplicates. And we also look for them automatically. So every time you are running an import, every time you are importing a file into Nimble, as long as the email address is the same on the contact record, we will merge the contact records. The reason we chose this unique identifier is that we don't want to mess up other contact records. So if there's a common name, we don't want to just merge everybody whose name is John Smith, because then, you know, it could be five people in your database. Michael's asking, can you provide a guide, steps to onboard? Open account, 30-day trial, customize. So Michael, are you looking for a guide in the form of a video, or would you prefer like a PDF? Because we can actually create webinar around this. I think this is an amazing idea to create a webinar which will then record and put on our YouTube so other people could access it. Okay, so I see that you'd prefer both. So yeah, definitely. Well, we'll work on it. I think it's an amazing idea. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to fit it into I may be able to fit it into December schedule. So I think I'll probably start with the webinar, and then I'll have somebody on our team to help me translate it into a PDF file, which we can use in our onboarding. So thank you so much, Michael. I think this is an amazing suggestion and idea. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today. I hope that you'll have a wonderful day. And if you have more questions, let us know at care@nimble.com. Have a great day. Bye.